Have you ever wondered what a leader does when the world sleeps? Tonight, we take you into the quiet hours of Abraham Lincoln, a man whose calm reflection and careful thought shaped the future of a nation. While others rested, Lincoln sat alone by candlelight, reading letters from soldiers, listening to reports from his advisors, and planning for a nation torn apart by conflict. Welcome to Night Without Rest, the channel where history awakens when the world sleeps. Here, we uncover stories of leaders, visionaries, and remarkable events that often go unnoticed. Tonight, we explore how Lincoln used the stillness of night to think deeply, plan carefully, and lead with wisdom. Lessons that remain inspiring to this day. Before we dive deeper, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to never miss another story from history. It is the year 1865, and the nation is still healing from the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln carries the heavy responsibility of guiding a country that has been deeply divided. The streets are quiet, the White House is still, and only the flickering candlelight illuminates his study. Lincoln reads letters from soldiers on distant battlefields, citizens writing for guidance, and advisors sending urgent reports. Each letter tells the story of hope, courage, and struggle. He pauses after each paragraph, thinking carefully about the consequences of every decision. The weight of leadership rests heavily on his shoulders, yet he remains calm and thoughtful. Fun fact: Lincoln often worked late into the night, sometimes until the early hours of the morning. These quiet hours gave him clarity and space to reflect, allowing him to plan and make decisions with patience and integrity. Lincoln often thought about the Emancipation Proclamation and the promise of freedom it represented. He reflected on the importance of justice, equality, and compassion. In the stillness of night, he considered the steps needed to guide a nation toward unity, how to heal the divisions caused by war, and how to inspire hope in every citizen. These reflections were not merely political. They were deeply human. Lincoln wanted to lead with integrity, making choices that were fair, just, and visionary. Even in the quiet hours, he envisioned a nation where equality and freedom were not ideals alone, but lived realities for everyone. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Your support helps us bring more inspiring historical stories to life. As night deepens, Lincoln continues his work. He reviews documents, considers reports, and reflects on the long-term consequences of his actions. He thinks about how history will remember these choices, not for the struggles of the moment, but for the positive impact they create for generations to come. In these quiet hours, Lincoln also revisited speeches and letters he had drafted. Words were important to him. He wanted every sentence to inspire hope, encourage unity, and guide his fellow citizens. He would read slowly, consider every phrase, and make adjustments until the message was clear and heartfelt. Imagine the candlelight flickering on the pages, shadows dancing across the room, while Lincoln carefully pondered each decision. He thought about the soldiers fighting far from home, the families waiting for news, and the country's future. In these moments, he proved that leadership is not only about action but also about thoughtful reflection. Every night, he turned solitude into opportunity, patience into wisdom, and reflection into leadership. During these quiet hours, Lincoln also plans for the nation's future beyond the war. He envisions reconstruction, the reunification of communities, and the rebuilding of lives disrupted by conflict. Every letter, every report, every decision he contemplates is guided by foresight and empathy. Fun fact: Lincoln believed that the night offered a kind of mental clarity impossible during the day. Without distractions, he could think, reflect, and decide with unmatched care. His nighttime reflections became a secret source of strength for the nation, a time when quiet determination shaped history. Lincoln's nights show us that leadership often happens quietly, away from public attention. In solitude, he strengthens his resolve, considers the needs of others, and refines the principles that guide his decisions. Imagine sitting alone in a candlelit room, holding the future of a nation in your hands. This was Lincoln's reality. Yet through patience, thoughtfulness, and compassion, he ensured that every action, every decision, served a greater purpose. The night became a canvas for leadership, creativity, and vision. If you're still listening, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Your support keeps history alive and inspires more stories to be told. As the hours pass, Lincoln continues his reflections, reviewing every detail of his speeches and letters, thinking about the consequences of every decision. Even in solitude, he remains deeply connected to the people he serves, making choices guided by integrity, empathy, and wisdom. Lincoln's Night demonstrates the power of quiet reflection. Great decisions often require patience, careful thought, and a deep understanding of the people affected. Every moment of his night was an opportunity to plan, to think, and to act with purpose. Through these hours, he modeled resilience, wisdom, and leadership. Even when facing immense challenges, he remained calm, measured, and positive. The lessons of his night remind us that greatness is often forged in quiet, unseen moments of thought and reflection. As the night ends, Lincoln's reflections continue to inspire us. His calm, thoughtful approach shows that even in solitude, leadership, vision, and compassion can create lasting change. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Stay tuned for more inspiring historical stories. Disclaimer: this video is created purely for educational purposes. It is not intended to harm, defame, or misrepresent anyone personally. All images and content are used responsibly to illustrate historical facts. Remember, even in the quiet hours of night, greatness can emerge, because the night always remembers.